You think women leave because they stop loving you. They don't. They leave the moment they stop respecting you. And that moment doesn't come with shouting or fights. It comes quietly, in the details you ignore, the way you talk, the way you show up, the energy you carry when you stop trying. Most men have no idea what they're doing wrong. They just feel her slipping away and think it's bad timing. It's not timing, it's repetition. So if she's acting distant, colder, less interested, this isn't random. You've been sending the wrong signals all along. In this video, I'll show you the 10 biggest turnoffs most men do without realizing it, and how each one silently kills her attraction before she ever walks away. Before we move forward, pause for a second. When was the last time you looked at yourself, really looked, and asked, would I respect me if I were her? That's the mirror test most men never take. They chase affection, but ignore alignment. They want connection, but neglect discipline. And slowly, without noticing, they start lowering the very standard they expect others to admire. This isn't judgment, it's awareness. And awareness is the first step to control. If you're ready to rebuild from the inside out, subscribe and like, because that's what we do here. Rebuild men from the mind first. Drop a comment below. I'm ready to earn my own respect again. Now take a breath, because the next truth will show you exactly where women start sensing that loss of control before you ever do. Number 1. Poor hygiene. She smells your neglect before she ever feels your touch. That might sound harsh, but attraction begins long before words or gestures. A woman reads you through your energy, and hygiene is the first language your body speaks. When a man shows up smelling careless, unkempt, with clothes that whisper, I stopped trying, she doesn't just sense bad odor, she senses emotional decay. Hygiene isn't just soap and cologne, it's self-command. Every detail, the trimmed nails, clean hair, the way your clothes sit, tells her whether you respect yourself enough to maintain order. Women have an instinctive radar for neglect because biologically, they're wired to detect safety, stability, and control. A man who can't manage his own body signals that he may not manage much else. This isn't vanity, it's discipline. When you take care of yourself, you project a kind of silent authority, an energy that says, I'm in control of me. That stability is magnetic. It tells her she can trust your presence because you can even handle the smallest things about your own existence. Most men mistake this for superficial attraction, but women aren't just drawn to appearance. They're drawn to what appearance represents. Cleanliness means you notice the world around you. It means awareness. It means care. A man who respects his reflection commands respect without saying a word. Because in her world, neglect is never invisible. It's the first thing she breathes in. Cleanliness isn't about smell, it's about energy. And she can sense neglect faster than any perfume can hide it. Number 2, overconfidence. Confidence is magnetic. Arrogance is radioactive. And the line between the two is thinner than most men realize. You see, women are not turned off by strength. They're turned off by the performance of strength. When confidence turns into self-display, when it becomes loud, self-centered, and desperate to be seen, she feels it instantly. Her instincts whisper, this man is compensating for something. Real confidence isn't a show, it's presence. It's the calm certainty that doesn't need validation, likes, or admiration to exist. Women sense this difference faster than you think. When you talk over others, brag about success, or try too hard to prove your value, you reveal what you're really hiding. Insecurity wearing the mask of dominance. A confident man doesn't need to convince anyone he's worthy. His actions, his silence, and his control do the speaking. That's why women find quiet men with focus so attractive. They feel grounded, steady, untouchable. Confidence has weight, not volume. Arrogance, on the other hand, drains energy from the room. It screams for approval. And the moment a woman feels you need her admiration, you lose the polarity. You shift from masculine energy to emotional dependence, and she stops feeling safe around you. So remember, confidence built on awareness will pull her closer. Confidence built on ego will push her away. Real confidence doesn't shout. It moves in silence, and women feel it. Number 3, bad manners. Respect isn't a gesture, it's an energy, and a woman feels it the moment you walk into a room. Manners are not about politeness, they're about presence. The way you treat the waiter, the cashier, the stranger who holds the door, those are micro-signals of your emotional state. A man who rushes, interrupts or disrespects others isn't just being rude. He's broadcasting chaos. Women pick that up instantly because they associate composure with safety. When you display good manners, you're not performing niceness, you're revealing emotional discipline. Please and thank you mean nothing if they come from obligation. But when they come from grounded confidence, they carry weight. They say, I'm in control of myself, so I don't need to dominate others to feel strong. Kindness is misunderstood. It isn't weakness, it's strength under control. A man who's kind because he chooses to be, not because he's trying to impress, exudes a quiet power. He doesn't bend to be liked, but he never forgets to be decent. That's what separates the men who lead from the men who beg for validation. Women are constantly observing how you treat those who can't do anything for you. They're not testing you, they're reading you. Because your manners reveal your emotional maturity more than any story about success ever could. True masculinity isn't about asserting control, it's about mastering it. She notices how you treat those who can't give you anything, because that's who you really are. Number 4, talking too much about yourself. If she can't breathe in the conversation, she'll stop caring. Men often think attraction grows through impressing a woman with stories, achievements, and cleverness. But the truth is colder. The more you talk, the less she feels. A woman doesn't fall for words. She falls for emotional space. And when you fill every silence with yourself, she feels trapped inside your ego. Constant self-talk is a hidden cry for validation. It says, please see me, please approve of me. You might not even notice it. You're just sharing, joking, keeping the vibe alive. But she feels the imbalance. Women are emotional barometers. When your words start orbiting around yourself, she senses that you're not connecting. You're performing. Real masculinity is presence, not performance. Presence leaves room. It listens, observes, and responds. A man who can stay silent without anxiety radiates authority. His calm draws curiosity. His attention gives her safety. She relaxes not because you say the right things, but because she senses you're not addicted to being understood. You're focused on understanding. When you dominate the air with your own story, you leave no space for hers. And when a woman feels unseen, she slowly detaches. She stops sharing. She stops trusting. And once emotional silence enters, physical distance follows. You don't attract her by being fascinating. You attract her by being attentive. A man who listens more than he talks. Controls the room without saying a word. Number 5, not listening. When she feels unheard, she disconnects. Emotionally first, then physically. You might think listening means being quiet while she talks. It doesn't. Listening is emotional recognition, not auditory patience. A woman needs to feel that you're hearing what she's really saying beneath the words. When you cut her off, dismiss her feelings, or respond like you're solving a problem instead of receiving one, she doesn't feel understood. She feels invisible. Men often listen to fix. Women speak to connect. That difference is the quiet reason so many relationships fracture without warning. When you treat her emotions as too much, illogical, or unnecessary, what she actually hears is, you don't matter. Listening is leadership. It's emotional control in action. It means staying calm when she's upset, staying present when she's overwhelmed, and resisting the instinct to turn her storm into your argument. A man who can anchor himself through her waves gives her something rare, safety. You don't need to agree with every word she says. You need to understand what it means to her. That understanding is validation. And validation is the oxygen of feminine connection. Women remember how you made them feel far longer than what you said. If she stops sharing, it's not because she's moody. It's because she stopped feeling safe to open up. A man who truly listens earns more than her words. He earns her trust. If you don't hear her feelings, you'll never hear from her again. Number 6. Neediness and insecurity. Emotional dependence kills polarity. Every time you chase reassurance, every time you need her to tell you that you're enough, you trade strength for survival. And she feels it immediately. A woman wants to feel connected to you, not responsible for your emotional balance. When you make her your emotional oxygen, she suffocates. Attraction fades because polarity dies the moment you place your self-worth in her hands. The truth is, neediness isn't love. It's fear disguised as affection. It's the quiet panic that says, "I'll lose myself if you leave." And that energy turns attraction into obligation. You're no longer the man she's drawn to. You become the boy she has to care for. Women test men unconsciously by pulling back their attention. They're not trying to hurt you. They're testing your emotional stability. Can you hold your center when she goes silent? Can you stay grounded when she withdraws? The answer determines whether she sees you as a partner or another burden. Strength isn't about distance. It's about self-possession. It's knowing that you can feel love without losing command of yourself. When your world doesn't collapse because hers shifts, she feels safe. You don't have to prove you care by chasing her. You prove it by staying balanced when her emotions fluctuate. That's when she trusts you enough to return. She can only relax in your presence if you don't collapse in hers. 7. Lack of ambition. A man without direction doesn't just lose a woman's attraction. He loses her respect. Women are drawn to movement. They don't need you to be rich or powerful. They need to feel that you're going somewhere. Purpose is a man's gravity. It gives meaning to his chaos and structure to his presence. When that's gone, she starts to feel unsafe, not because you're failing, but because you've stopped fighting. Ambition isn't about material goals. It's the energy that says, "I'm still building myself." When a man stops pushing forward, life begins to drain out of him. His conversations turn passive, his tone dulls, his eyes lose that fire. A woman notices it long before he does. She doesn't see laziness, she senses collapse. Biologically, women are tuned to respond to drive. It's not about dominance, it's about survival. A man with purpose radiates safety because his direction shows he can lead, adapt, and endure. That's why women respect men who chase goals, even when they fail. Failure with momentum is more attractive than comfort without growth. But the moment she senses you've surrendered to mediocrity, her instincts turn off. You stop being a man in motion. You become a man waiting for life to happen. And no woman wants to follow a man who stopped leading himself. You don't need to be at the finish line. You just need to be in the race. She doesn't need your success. She needs to see that you're still fighting for something. Number 8. Negativity. Your energy dictates attraction. It's that simple and that brutal. Negativity is the silent killer of polarity. When you complain, blame, or dwell in cynicism, you're not just speaking badly about the world. You're training her nervous system to associate you with tension. Every sigh, every complaint, every defeated tone tells her one thing. I can't rely on this man's energy to make me feel safe. Women are emotional receivers. They mirror what they feel from you. When your presence carries heaviness, she starts to withdraw. Not because she's heartless, but because her body instinctively protects her peace. A man's role isn't to be happy all the time. It's to remain composed, grounded, even when life is chaotic. That's leadership. Masculine stability isn't about pretending everything's fine. It's about mastering your response when it's not. When you handle pressure without projecting it, she feels security. When you carry calm under stress, she feels drawn to you again because she senses that your emotions won't drown hers. Negativity repels because it forces her to carry what you won't. Optimism, on the other hand, isn't naivete. It's strength. It's the decision to face reality without surrendering to it. Your mindset is your scent. She feels it before you speak. You either bring air into the room or you drain it out. And the man who controls his energy controls attraction. Be the calm in her storm, not the storm she has to survive. Number 9. Overly aggressive. Control is power. Force is fear. Many men mistake dominance for strength and aggression for masculinity. But to a woman, aggression doesn't read as confidence. It reads as instability. When your energy spikes into confrontation, when your tone sharpens too quickly, or your body language turns rigid, she doesn't see authority. She senses danger. Assertiveness is clarity. Aggression is chaos. One commands respect, the other demands it. And every time you push too hard, talk too loud, or try to win every argument, you're revealing that your power depends on control over others, not mastery over yourself. Real strength is stillness under fire. It's the man who can stay calm when tested, the one who doesn't react to every provocation. Women feel safest with that kind of man, not because he's soft, but because he's immovable. His restraint speaks louder than anger ever could. Aggression often hides fear, the fear of not being heard, not being respected, not being enough. But when you explode to prove strength, you only confirm weakness. Emotional volatility erases trust. It turns attraction into alertness, intimacy into distance. You don't have to dominate to lead. You lead by standing still when everything else is shaking. That's what presence feels like. That's what safety looks like to her. The man who controls his fire becomes the one she trusts to protect her. Number 10. Being inauthentic. The biggest turnoff isn't who you are, it's who you pretend to be. Women have an almost supernatural radar for falseness. They can sense when a man's confidence is borrowed, when his humor is forced, when his calm is performative. You can't fake alignment. You can mimic confidence for a while, but the body always reveals what the soul denies. When a man performs an identity instead of embodying one, his energy fractures. He might sound confident, but his eyes betray uncertainty. He might act relaxed, but his tone carries tension. And women, being emotional detectives, read those cracks like open pages. It's not manipulation they sense, it's misalignment. Authenticity is not about oversharing or being soft. It's about coherence. When your words, actions, and emotions move in the same direction, she feels it as stability. When they don't, she feels unease. You don't need to be perfect, you need to be real. Because a man who is comfortable with his flaws makes her feel safe to be herself too. Trying to impress her is the fastest way to lose her respect. But showing up as you are, flawed, growing, aware, that's what earns her trust. You can't build connection on performance. Performance demands an audience, not intimacy. Stop managing her perception. Start mastering your truth. She falls for the man who's real, not the man who performs confidence. You don't lose a woman overnight. You lose her slowly. Every time she watches you lose respect for yourself. It's not the dirty shirt, or the arrogance, or the silence in the middle of a fight. It's the pattern. The slow erosion of discipline, purpose, and awareness that once made you magnetic. Women don't leave because they stop loving you. They leave because they stop believing in you. Respect is the foundation of attraction. When a woman respects you, she stays emotionally invested. When that respect fades, no amount of love, sex, or effort will keep her. Every one of those 10 behaviors is a signal, a symptom of disconnection between who you are and who you know you could be. You don't need to chase women to fix this. You need to return to yourself. Get disciplined again. Speak less, observe more. Lead your emotions instead of reacting to hers. Stop performing and start aligning. Because every time you move with awareness, you remind her and yourself that you are a man who knows his center. She doesn't want a perfect man. She wants a stable one who stands when everything else falls apart, one who can protect her peace because he's mastered his own chaos. The truth is, these aren't her turn-offs. They're your wake-up calls. Each one is an invitation to rebuild your power. Not for validation, not for revenge, but because the world moves differently when you do. If you're done losing women for reasons you never understood, it's time to master the one thing you can control. You. Subscribe. Because every week, I'll teach you how to rebuild your presence, your respect, and your quiet authority. Not for her, for you.